I really don't know how many years it's been that I've been doing this Wednesday Night Live. And not really an original. Hey, Brent, good evening. How are you, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. Always a pleasure. Brent, look forward to you going to Ohio with us next year. Speaking of Ohio, there's our buddy Craig Plowman. Good evening. Speaking of Ohio, Lori. Ooh, I should turn that off so it doesn't bother us. Randy, Kevin, Mike checking in from sunny Arizona. Tim, good evening. How are you, buddy? Nice to have you along with us. Brian, always a pleasure to have Jason Wolverton of the Forward Corporation. And last week we gave away a fishing trip with me. Oh. And what do you think, Mike? Do you like the knife? Mike Alessi had been lusting over my knife, and he decided to get one of his own, and he actually sprang for the big bucks. He got the mammoth ivory handle. I think you're going to like it. Who was Iowa bound? Eric's heading to Iowa in the morning. How cool is that? Let me go back to Jason. Jason, I'll be talking with Mark tomorrow. I guess you guys had a conversation. I'll be curious to see what you guys are thinking. Michelle is checking in from the chair next to Craig Plowman. OMG, I guess Mike likes it. Missed you this morning. It was the dentist's fault. Ugh. I like my dentist. He's a hunting fool. He's a shooting fool. Lori, does your bow match your nails or do your nails match your bow? Good evening, John. How are you? Ted E. Fur Gala. Mad Jack, how are you, buddy? My name is Mike Avery. This is Wednesday Night Live, and I'm glad to have you along with Paul. Just drove by Rapid River Knives 5 minutes ago. Great place. Paul, am I clairvoyant? No, because I was off by one day, wasn't I? Congrats. That is a beautiful, beautiful buck. Oh, Linda. Oh, wait. Mike is on live. What day is it? Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Yes, indeed it is. Ed Bolanowski, how are you, buddy? Nice to have you along with it. Yes, they do. I saw the picture. Good evening, Roger. Nice to have you with us as well. Hey, Stu, how are things on I was just going to say the snowy 45th parallel. I saw some pictures earlier today, and you guys did indeed get some snow, didn't you? We got some snow here too, but not like you just going over trail cam pictures, tired of trespassers. Man, doesn't that stink? Who do these people think they are? Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. Thank you, David. Jim checking in from Tennessee. Who do these people think they are that they have the right to trespass on somebody else's property? David? Matt? I'll tell you what, overly exciting, Standish. I am late to this whole cellular trail camera phenomenon. I admit it. In fact, I still don't have any cellular trail cameras, but my son James does. And he's allowed me access to his account, and I've been piggybacking on his account. And I tell you what, it is addicting, isn't it? We've got two nice bucks wandering around our lease property in the central part of the state, and I find myself, I had to turn the notifications off because they ping me or whatever, and it's like, you got a picture. No. But I find myself going to this app several times a day to see what's wandering around out there. And what was it today? 10:30 in the morning? Yeah, we got two nice bucks wandering around out there. One of them I would send an arrow through in a heartbeat. Did you do a get? Say, good evening, Mike. Did you do a get together already? Tony, I'm not sure what you mean. Yes, bucks cruising midday. Chaz says, yeah, they're great. but they're a little irritating when they send pictures of bucks while you're at work. Yes, yes. Yes. And I find myself when I get pictures of these midday bucks like right now, it makes you want to head for the woods, doesn't it? Jim's got 2 of them. He loves them. They're very addicting. What great tools they are, man. Anyway, let me get back to my subjects at hand for this edition of Wednesday Night Live. It's November, by the way. Welcome to the month of November, the month of Rocktober. Hey, John, how are you, buddy? Got to meet John at our outing in Ohio here a couple of weeks ago. What a great group. John's a great guy. We just were blessed with a great group of people. Hello, Sam. Sam Austin from Jay's Sporting Goods, jaysportinggoods.com. How are you, buddy? Have you had a chance to get in the woods, or has all your time been spent in the archery department there at Jay's in Clare? Here we go. I thought you talked about Dixie Dave's or the Roadhouse. Thank you, Tony, for bringing that up. Here's the problem. Since apparently nobody wants to work right now, and everybody is having problems with staffing levels and getting people to get off their butt and to go to work. And this is everybody I talk to. Everybody I talk to who unfortunately has employees is dealing with this same problem. Nobody wants to work. So Chef Dave Miner can't get enough staff to open his restaurant more than 4 days a week. The staff he said he's working them to the bone because he can't get people to fill in. Same thing at the Lumberjack restaurant in West Branch, where I wanted to have a Wednesday Night Live. The people who show up are good, hardworking people, but they're being overworked because the other slugs won't come into work. He's doing a lot better, Jim. Appreciate you asking. Dan had a nice 10-point. Now he's a 5-point. He lost one side. How did he lose a side already, Dan? Sam says he's bent out. Nothing but does. The bucks aren't chasing at his place. That's interesting. Good point, Stu. 10 more days, they'll be all different. And why will they be different? Because we're going to put hundreds of thousands of firearm hunters in the woods. That'll change it. Can't argue with you there, Kevin. Can't argue with you there. Anyway, it's November. I was sorry to see the month of Rocktober go away, but I'm glad to see the month of November because this first 2 weeks of November are magical in the whitetail woods. And I am actually pretty excited that I have my interest back in deer hunting. I had lost it. I had lost my mojo for a while. I got him back now. Paul says, what's your favorite trail camera? He has 7 spy points and he loves them. Well, I'm not a good guy to ask, Paul, because the only 2 trail cameras I have are not cellular trail cameras, and the only time I use them is on bear hunts in Ontario. I don't have any experience with them. The only experience I have is, again, piggybacking on my son James' cell cameras, and I just started to do this a couple of days ago, but it is very addicting. But I can't help you. I just don't know. Tony says the bucks are chasing in Bay County. Gary loves his spy point. That's right. Daylight savings time coming this weekend. Keep that in mind. So it's November. It's been cold. The bucks are in the rut in most places. And why is it that the bucks go in the rut? Daylight, the length of daylight affects their testosterone levels. The testosterone level increases. Their necks swell up and they're looking for one thing. They're looking for love. Basically is the short story. You think having your grandson hunting has helped bring back your interest? No. I mean, of course, yeah, it's a factor. But the thing that really made a difference in my mind is when I put all the other crap aside, when I put the social media shaming, when I put the online fighting, when I put the antler point restriction controversy, when I put this all behind me and I just forgot about it. And I didn't worry about what anybody else said or thought or did. I just went out there to hunt my hunt. And that's what made a difference for me. And now the fact that we have some lease property, my son James is out there, my grandkids are out there. It is nice. Yeah, it's very, very nice. Yeah, Mike is right to help. Is right. Help just doesn't show up. Yeah. Evening, Mark. How are you? Check out the REO Link Go Point camera pans and tilts. Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Dave. So it is November. It has been cold. We have had snow. They've had snow in the UP. They've had snow in the northern lower. Even here in my neck of the woods in the central part of the state, we've had some snow. Didn't stick. See, Tom says it's crazy in the deer woods right now. Yeah, I that's my sense too, and what I've seen on trail cameras and in person, I can feel it's a different ball game than it was a month ago. But somebody was just saying the bucks aren't chasing in their part of the state. That's interesting. I wanted to show you this because I talked about it this morning. This is an inexpensive battery operated heated vest. Now I was kind of bummed out this morning when somebody says, "What model is it? What brand is it?" And I thought, you know what? I don't know. I just got it cheap. And then I looked at the label, and the label's in Chinese. So, so I'm not happy about that. But I have found that these, it's dirty too, that these battery operated vests are wonderful. And the way this thing works is it's got a battery. This one happens to be a Primal Tree Stands battery, right? That you'd use to charge your cell phone. You plug it into your vest and then you turn it on. And I think it's actually, this one might be dead now. It's got a high, low, and an off. And they're great. So all you have to do is put a lightweight battery powered vest underneath your other clothes. You can get by with wearing a lot less. And I love them. I love them. Although I think I'm going to try to find something else. Rose City all weekend to bow hunt. Been seeing lots of does past few weeks. So hopefully it should be game on. Should be game. All right. Jim says the Aurora vests. Somebody was telling me that they have them at Home Depot. Sean says, me too. I lost my hunting mojo for a while just because it was and still kind of hard for me to get out. Old enough to hunt by myself, but I still need a hunting buddy. I hear you, Sean. Yeah. Aurora. You know what, Tim? I think you'd actually love one like that. I really do. I think they would help keep you very comfortable. I really, knowing your situation, I really think you could really benefit from that. Jesse says they're great for long. Where we go? Jesse says they're great for long sits in a tree stand. All right, Brent, have a good night, buddy. Milwaukee makes a heated coat and works with your power tool batteries. I got those big 40-volt batteries, John. How would you hide those? Jeff has been wearing his Aurora vest for 2 years. He loves it. All right, maybe that's something I should check into. Milwaukee Tools heated coats and vests are at Home Depot. Okay, let me check something here. Aurora heated vest. I'm just at auroraware.com. They're on sale. The men's classic heated vest. What are we talking? $170. That's about twice what I paid for mine. But as you can see, mine is a cheap one. Jeff just says he got an Aurora fleece non-hooded zip up. He loves it. Mark was up at Rapid River checking out trail cameras, seeing good signs, had a bear on my mineral block. Did you stop by Rapid River Knife Works, Mark? Cool beard, Mark. Very nice. Firearm season's coming up. I do plan to hunt probably one day during firearm season with a rifle, a 30-06. And why? Because my dad hunted with a 30-06 for deer. And in my mind, a 30-06 is what a Michigan deer rifle should be. Now, I realize that that's kind of crazy these days when you've got 350s and 450s and 270s and everything else. But I will be out there opening morning, and I'm sure James will be out there, and I bet Trent and Addison will be out there. Stu likes a Mr. Buddy, a 20-pound cylinder, a box blind, blue jeans, and hoodie. Amen to that, brother. Did I get my deer? That's an interesting question, Mike. I don't believe in your deer. I would feel more comfortable if you worded that. Did you get a deer? The answer to that is no, not yet. The right deer hasn't walked in front of me. I almost shot a big doe the other night, Monday night. I really, really wanted to shoot her. I mean, she was a big doe. She came through with a button buck. Button buck came through first, then she came through. And she stood 20 yards, broadside, quartered away slightly, put her foot forward, opened up her vitals, and basically said, shoot me. And I wanted to badly. But I have this fear that if I shoot a doe during the rut, maybe I've diminished my chances of her being live bait to bring a buck in front of me. And I realize maybe that doesn't make sense. Somebody said earlier, well, you know, if you take more does out of the herd, the bucks are going to have to look more for does. So they're going to be more active. So whatever. But I didn't shoot her. Had I seen her in the first couple days, oh, Heath, yeah, man, I was looking forward to seeing you. Heath's favorite cell camera is a Spartan. Had his for 4 years, no problems. Can I recommend a good budget crossbow? I'm going to try my hand at deer hunting with a pistol this year, a 10 millimeter 1911 or a 357 Magnum revolver. Nothing wrong with a 30-06. A good budget crossbow. Good budget crossbow. Killer Instinct. I can't recommend Barnett. But you got two different questions here. Aurora has stuff on sale. I was just at their website, Dave. Stu says he doubts the deer care what they get shot with. I agree with that. Well, you don't want a Raven because that's not a budget, but I'm more interested in the second part of your comment when you say you're going to try handgun hunting with a pistol, a 10 millimeter 1911 or a 357 Magnum revolver. Very interesting. I'll tell you, the guy you want to follow if you're interested in handgun hunting in general, or in particular for whitetails, follow Gabe Van Wormer. He is, what is his handle on Instagram? Let me check it out here. Gabe Van Wormer. He is, that's not him. That's not him. What does he call himself? Somebody help me out. Gabe Van Wormer. He's got a Instagram handle, but I can't find him here. Somebody help me out. But he is a bona fide expert. Okay. Paul says an Excalibur Grizzly is good for under $500. Jeff says an Excalibur is a good one. Mike says PSE crossbows are a good budget quality bow, and Jay's is where to shop for them. Michigan Crossbow Hunters, he would know, says the best crossbow is the one that fits you and you feel comfortable with. But we were talking about budget. That was the Darton could be if you get a Darton 100 reverse draw, that's a good budget one. Yeah, Gabe Van Wormer. Yeah, but I know it's Gabe Van Wormer from Michigan Outdoors. But what is his Instagram handle? I'm suggesting that somebody follows him on Instagram because he's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to handgun hunting. Travis, you're welcome. Congrats on that. Tony says any insight on why ammo is so dang hard to find? That's been discussed ad nauseum here and many other places, Tony. It's just demand, COVID, supply chain problems. Although I did have just searched May 11th, 2016 for my first Wednesday Night Live, and you look much younger now. Not kidding. Tim, you're so nice. May 11, 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25 years ago. So I've been doing Wednesday Night Lives for all 5 years. Killer Instinct, Barnett, and Centerpoint are all great budget crossbows, or what we call starters. Martin, can you recommend Barnett? And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be an idiot. Ross has some great advice. Talk to Ed Beckley at M65's Bait Shop. He has crossbows of all prices, including dart and archery bows. Good advice. I didn't realize this. Gaylord got almost 12 inches of snow. Thank you, Joe. John, I didn't realize they had that much. Jeff is heading up to, here we go. Sorry, late. Yeah, ready for a couple of days. Fall brawl walleye slam down on Lake Erie. Jeff is headed up to deer camp Saturday until the end of musket season, hoping for a few bucks, no wolves, a fisher, and a marten. Jeff Hammond is one of the more interesting guys you'll ever meet. He seems to be an expert at everything he does. He's good at everything he does. The guy decided he wanted to go make a knife, start making knives, and you should see the knives they're making. Guy decided he wanted to go spear fishing. He's just amazing. And he's almost ready to retire. Jim says he uses a 44 mag Red Hawk revolver. Personally, and again, I never hunted whitetails with a handgun, but I've talked to several people who have, and I do think from what they tell me that a revolver is probably the way to go if you're going to be handgun hunting. Martin says he has a Barnett Jackal. He loves it. Also a Killer Instinct Boss 405 and an Excalibur Axiom as well. Martin, how many crossbows does one guy need? One more, right? It's like, how many guns does a guy need? One more. Mike found some 30-30 shells. You would have thought he won the lottery. That's it, Larry. Gabe _Van Warmer. Okay. I thought he was Michigan outside, or maybe I'm thinking of Drew Youngday. Thank you, Lori. Gabe _Van Warmer. Very, very good. Very knowledgeable. Great guy. A couple of comments here. Dwayne likes the center point, 425. Stu says he got 6 to 7 inches southwest of town. Need to start an ammo exchange. Or we just need to have been prepared for the ammo shortage. I want to tell you who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week, and that's really how I make my bread and butter. That's what I do for a living, is I do the Outdoor Magazine radio show. It's on 32 broadcast stations across the great state of Michigan. Now, I think there's only one other outdoor radio show that I'm aware of in Michigan that it can even remotely be considered syndicated. And I reach far more people than he does. Guns are like pocket knives. You can never have too many of them. Dave's got a Barnett Quad 350, loves it. Check out if it fits your large frame. Yeah, that's right. You got to check and see if they work, if they fit. Oh, my goodness. My wife bought me a little cabin 12 miles south of Baldwin for Christmas. Jeff, you win the prize of the best wife of the evening. John, many years ago, I shot a doe with a Smith & Wesson 460 XVR. Sold it since because it proved to be an elephant gun. Destroyed the other side on the exit. Never used it again. Wow. On the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week, Lieutenant Jason Wickland from the DNR talks about what it's like to be a game warden. I enjoyed that conversation. And let me preface this right now. I am pro law enforcement. My dad was a cop for 35 years. I was a volunteer conservation officer for several years. I've often said if I wasn't doing this, the only other job I could do and enjoy would be a cop. So I'm pro law enforcement, right? But some people don't like game wardens, period. Some people don't like the DNR. But I enjoyed my conversation with Lieutenant Wickland because it was obvious he was coming at his job from the perspective of somebody who had a few years in the field. And I appreciate that, meaning you could tell that he didn't look at every hunter or angler as a potential ticket or a potential crook or a violator. He looked at them as good people, and maybe they might screw up occasionally. I appreciate that because in my experience, the vast majority of hunters and anglers are great people. I think we often see it in younger officers because they're still green and they're very amped up and they want to prove that they can do the job and they want to prove they know the job and they want to prove they can write tickets. And I get that. All of us, many of us, myself included, when we were young, were very eager, very enthusiastic and wanting to prove ourselves. I get that. I'm just saying if I make a mistake in the field and I do something that's technically illegal, but not really a big deal, like, for example, if I lay my rifle across the tailgate of my truck, which is technically a loaded gun in a motor vehicle, I want the veteran officer coming up to me, looking at me and going, "Hey, Avery, you want to move that gun?" Rather than have the young guy come up and say, "You know what? That's a ticket right there." That's my point. Better stick with my radio job, Jeff says. I know. And here's the thing, Jeff, and I may have told you the story before. When I was about 16 years old, I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I want to be a cop just like you." He said, "You do, and I'll kick your..." Well, you know what I'm trying to say here. But keep in mind, I wasn't 16 yet. I was only like probably 12. Keep in mind, this was the riots of Grand Rapids and Detroit, and he was in those riots. And he said, "Why would you want to? Why would you want a job where somebody would spit on you and call you a pig?" Spirit of the law as opposed to the letter of the law. Yeah. Dad said that, and so did all of his friends. And then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News in hour number one. Hour number two, Glenn Duncan. This goes back to the ammo comment, the ammunition comment. Glenn Duncan of Duncan's Outdoor Shop in Bay City addresses the ammo shortage. He says you can now get 9mm is in good supply. And what was the other one he said? Not 40. It might have been 40, 45. He said those supplies are pretty good. Yeah, Grand Rapids had riots. You bet they did. I have video of my dad in those riots from 1968. Evening, Dave. How are you? Sam's on here a minute ago. And Glenn also talks about the process of sighting in your deer rifle. And he said it's different now because in the past, what they would recommend is you buy 2, 3, 4 different boxes of shells to see what your gun likes. He says these days you can't get 2, 3, 4 boxes of ammo. He says, so get the ammo that you can and then make the most of it. And then Matt Poet talks about the Michigan buck pole. In hour number 3, it's Scott Keatsman of Linwood Taxidermy, and we wrap it all up with Wild Game Chef Dave Miner. I also recorded an Offshore Tackle podcast today with Drake Hurd, who is the National Walleye Tour Angler of the Year. Stu says, good luck hunting, brothers and sisters. Number 1, have fun. Number 2, enjoy your hunt. Number 3, no shaming. Number 4, have fun. Stu, quote of the night right there. Quote of the night right there. Words to live by. Let's go through this again. Good luck hunting, my brothers and sisters. Perfect. Number 1 rule, have fun. Can't argue with that. Number 2 rule, enjoy your hunt. Amen to that, brother. Number 3, no shaming. That's become a big deal lately. And that's why I lost my love for hunting for several years, deer hunting for several years, was the online shaming and the weenies and weasels that would tear apart somebody else's hunt. Hunt your hunt. As long as it's legal, a fellow hunter has no say in what you do. If in your mind the hunt is moral and ethical, go for it. And legal. And number 4, have fun, he says. Martin loves his Tacticam Reveal cell cam. Yeah, stay safe. He added it there. Wasn't Cabela's on Monday and he had plenty of ammo. Excellent. Yeah, he added stay safe. Stu, if I remember right, is a hunter safety instructor. So believe me, safety is on his mind. He may have forgot to write it down in his comments, but he doesn't forget it in practice. I will promise you that. What else? Oh, can I talk? I want to talk about a subject that is the subject of this week's Ask Avery segment. Mike says, I feel generally the DNR are nice people. They are there to protect and preserve our wildlife and ensure legal and safe hunts for present and future generations to come. I agree. But I will tell you guys this, and again, I am pro law enforcement. My dad was a cop for 35 years. And my dad is the guy who told me that just like every profession, there are good and bad. And I think we learned that in the priesthood, didn't we? Good priest and bad priest. And it seems like the bad ones are really bad. Same thing with cops. When you get a bad cop, he's a really bad cop because he's got a badge and a gun and he thinks he's protected by the law. But they're in the minority, greatly in the minority. I think when somebody becomes a job as a cop, they want to serve, they want to protect, they want to do their part for society. And I'm sure glad they're there. Number 5. This should be the number 1 rule, Craig, before you take a picture. Put the tongue in the animal's mouth. Ross booked his wolf hunt for late January in White River. Are you using your dart and crossbow? Because I don't know of anybody that has taken a wolf with a crossbow, Ross. You could be the first. All right. Let me address an issue that I didn't even know was a problem, but it became the topic of this week's Ask Avery segment. Ernest Skeens sent me a message and he said, Mike, he said, I'm wondering if you could address or let bow hunters know not to shoot coyotes they find in traps. He said, I've had 3 coyotes shot by bow hunters in the last 2 years. They completely ruin the fur and any money I can make off them, which is very little. Let's look at this from a number of different angles. Number 1, if you walk up on a critter in a trap and it's not your trap, you didn't set it, you don't own the trap, stay the hell away from it. It's not your property. It's none of your business. If you want to sit there and look at it and see what's in it, that's fine. Don't touch it. Don't kill the animal that's in that trap. Don't take the animal out of the trap. It's not yours. To me, that seems like a boneheaded move. Number 2, hunters, for the most part, believe in fair chase. What does fair chase mean? It means that the critters that we pursue have a reasonable chance of evading and avoiding us. How is a coyote that's in a trap a target that anybody would want to shoot? What is wrong with you? Not you, people who would do that. Okay. So I posed the question to Rick, you got to be careful with that comment. I know what you're saying. I posed the question to Lieutenant Jason Wicklund. I said, Lieutenant, is it wrong to shoot an animal in a trap, especially if it's not yours? Because, all right, say you're coyote trapping and you come up on one of your traps with a coyote in it and you shoot it in the head with a 22. Well, that's fine. That's legal, ethical, moral. A quick, clean, humane killing shot. I say, is it wrong to shoot an animal in somebody else's trap? Lieutenant Wicklund says yes, both legally and ethically. He said some animals, and this is a good point too, just because you see an animal in a trap doesn't mean that animal is going to die. Because with today's traps, it's Rick, it's easy in many cases to release that animal. You could have a coyote in a trap in a leg hold and be released and he'd be just fine. Anyway, Lieutenant Wicklund says some animals can be released or will be released, so we don't want people killing them. He says, now, if the animal's been there for a long time, then the trapper is in violation of the trap check laws, and we would like to know about it. Okay, different topic. Not talking about that. We're talking about a trapper who checks his traps daily or every other day, whatever the law calls for. Interesting point now. He says, keep in mind, Mike, that some species that can be trapped cannot be shot. For example, a beaver, an otter, a mink, or a muskrat. So that would be an issue. I can't get over the fact that I even had to bring this up, that Ernest brought it up to me and asked me to address it. Common sense respect for other people, respect for other people's property, respect for other people's activities. If it doesn't directly interfere with you or threaten you or your family, don't worry about it. Like crawling up in somebody else's tree stand and say it's first come, first serve. I was here first, go find your own. Good point, Jeff. Who does that? Not the law-abiding hunters and anglers that I know and have covered for years and hang around with and interview on my show. Not those people. But going back to my earlier comment, in every group, if you get a big enough group, there's going to be some bad apples. Now, I firmly believe, and I believe this in some 40 years of working with outdoorsmen and women, that in general, outdoorsmen and women, hunters and anglers and shooters and trappers are the salt of the earth. The vast, vast majority of us are good, law-abiding, many of us God-fearing, resource-protecting people. But there's going to be a few dirtbags in every crowd, right? Mike, if it's not yours, it's not your business. Leave it alone and move on. Amen. Now, the only caveat here is it could be argued that if you see a hunter or angler doing something illegal that threatens the resource, then it can be argued you have a responsibility to call and turn them in. It did end up being a good topic. Maybe some just didn't consider it. I can't agree with you. I can't go along with that, Dave. I can't go along with you there because I don't know what kind of a bonehead could walk up on a coyote in somebody else's trap and shoot it and didn't consider that it might be wrong. Not if you're a breathing, thinking human being. Ross was late because he's probably got company. So he didn't know if somebody asked what day it is. Ross, because you have company probably, and you're late, you didn't hear somebody ask me what day it is. And I said, Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. But you missed that, Ross, probably because you have company. I love busting your chops over that, buddy. Hey, and let me put out a shout to Ross Elliott right now and Emil Rousseau. If you were here with us last week, you saw, good point, Lori, if he had company, he wouldn't be on. Yeah, he would for a little while. Last week, Jason Wolverton, who was on here earlier, and I got together and we gave a walleye fishing trip on Saginaw Bay to benefit Real Men Wear Pink, the campaign to raise awareness for and raise funds for and to fight breast cancer. And Ross Elliott, who has fished with me before, fished with me free, and can fish with me anytime he wants for free. Emil has never fished with me, but he's more than welcome to fish with me free. These two guys got together and they spent $1,200 on a fishing trip with me on Saginaw Bay because they wanted to benefit the cause. That, my friends, are two stand-up individuals. Those are the types of people I want to hang around with and be friends with. Morals, character, integrity, no matter what you do, hunting included. Absolutely. And not to get too far off topic here or get too esoteric or too mamby-pamby, but I feel like we're missing that in the world today in general. Lori says, I've had people hunt out on my ground blind because I've had people hunt out of my ground blind because I was there and they thought it was there for them to use when I wasn't. I think it wasn't there and they thought it was there for them to use when I wasn't. Not unless you told them to. Hey, Lori, there's Jason right there. He hit his $2,500 goal and then some, thanks to me, Ross, and Emil. And to you, Jason. Good for you, man. By the way, keep an eye on Ross. I think he's good for the money, but you want to keep an eye on him. Don't let him shirk his responsibility. Hunter's code and ethics. Learn it or stay home. Practice it. Live it. I can't help it. It's not nice to covet some material thing, but I got to tell you, I carry this Rapid River knife in my pocket every day It's custom made for me out of mammoth ivory, woolly mammoth ivory. And I just love it. And I think it would be a great Christmas present. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, Ron St. Louis, Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Good evening to you, my friend. Ross says he's already got the money. Get off my back. All right. If you want a first class bear hunt in Ontario, I highly recommend Ron St. Louis. The website, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com. I've hunted up there a dozen years or so. And people say, well, I'd like to go on a bear hunt, but I'm a little bit afraid to go across the border into an area, into the wilderness, into the bush with people I don't know. Listen, you don't have to worry about that with Ron. I know Ron. I will vouch for Ron. He's not going to take advantage of you. He's not going to steal your money and leave you with a bad hunt. It's not going to happen. Besides that, you are more than likely to have many, many people up there who I know or you know. So anyway, northernwildernessbearoutfitters.com. He's running springtime hunts and August hunts as well. I will be back up there again. Jess says, off topic, anyone here ever go brown bear hunting in Russia? If so, the experience, good or bad, how long ago? Jeff, the guy you want to talk to, I know what that was. The furnace is across that wall, and I had just checked the humidifier, and I put the cover back on, and apparently not good enough, and the furnace kicked on and it fell off. That's the type of thing, if it happened in the middle of the night, I'd be down here checking it out. Anyway, Jeff, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. He's a Michigan guy, and he runs Russian brown bear hunts. What is his name? He's very successful. It was fine, though. It didn't sound good, but it was fine. Somebody help me. Maybe I can Google him here. Denny Gerink. I didn't even have to Google it. It just came to my mind. Jeff, Denny Gerink, Guerink. He's the guy you want. Talk to him. There you go, Dave. There's Dave, Denny Gerink. John says, go grab a gun and check it out. I started to say, if that happened in the middle of the night, I would have grabbed the gun and came down and check it out. But I knew what it was. Bears are still out. Dave had one come through his bow spot 4 times in the last 2 nights. Well, Joe, you're more than welcome. Congrats on your nice buck too, by the way. All right, my friend. Hey, Dave. Dave, who I can never get on the radio show anymore. He's like the kayak guru. He's the yak master. Love that term. He's the yak master. But he's too busy to talk to little old Avery on his little old radio show. That's only the biggest one in the state, one of the biggest statewide syndicated outdoor radio shows in the country on 32 stations. Dave he can't bother with little old me. Good evening, Gene. How are things at Apex Marine? You know I love Apex. Apex Marine. Billy, if I remember right, that was a beautiful fish. Dave says, I'm here for you anytime, buddy, but you're not. Don't try to cozy up now and pretend everything's all good and everything's warm and fuzzy. How many times did I call you when you weren't available? And I have the best listeners, no doubt about that. And you know what? On a serious note, I couldn't do this without you. I could not have been able to do a job that I love so much and try to do whatever good I can for pushing 40 years now without you, and I appreciate it. You know what else I appreciate? The fact that it's time to call it quits for the night. Yeah, I picked up 6 new stations in the UP, the Radio Results Network. Thank you, Mike Daniels, for that. I got Marquette back. I got Iron Mountain back. I picked up 2 in Escanaba and 2 in Manistee. I will be hunting in the central part of the state, opening day of firearm season. You as well, Sam. All right, my friends. Hey, my email, my website is mikeaveryoutdoors.com. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Feel free to get in touch with me. Send me a comment, questions, concerns, whatever. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go over into the storage room here and put that cover back on my humidifier. John, yeah, this is my 40th year in broadcasting. I'm actually getting ready to start my 41st year in broadcasting, and I started when I was 21 or 2. All right, my friends, thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a great evening. Get out in the woods. What did Fred used to say? Get outdoors. It's a great place to be. I'm saying get out in the deer woods right now, because the odds of seeing a shooter buck, whatever you consider to be a shooter buck, are better now than just about any other time of year. Get out there and have some fun. No, you weren't that far off, John. All right, my friends, have a good night. Thanks for joining me on this